Woman secretly removed the cap from her pen as the plane was landing. Then, while the killer wasn't paying attention, she stabbed it straight into his chest. At that moment, the killer never saw it coming. Annie quickly ran off the plane before the killer could react. However, as soon as she reached the airport hall, she suddenly heard a broadcast announcing that she was wanted. Seeing security guards surrounding the area, Annie grabbed a menu and sat directly across from two strangers. The two people sitting opposite her were clearly surprised. Annie successfully avoided capture, and by the time the two realized what was going on, she had already slipped away quietly. Meanwhile, the killer Jack arrived at the hall and quickly spotted Annie pretending to read a newspaper. Seeing him, Annie immediately ran, but Jack quickly chased after her. They kept running through the corridors. Unexpectedly, Annie tripped and fell at the junction of the moving walkway. She quickly lifted her head and saw Jack getting closer and closer. Ignoring the pain in her body, she jumped up and started running again. She managed to board the subway just before the doors closed. Fortunately, Jack was 1 second too late, and the metal doors slammed shut right in front of him. Watching Annie get farther and farther away, Jack was furious, but he had no way to catch up. After getting off the subway, Annie hurried toward the exit. Then, while no one was watching, she jumped into someone's car and drove off. She needed to alert her partner as soon as possible. Someone was planning to assassinate the president, but just as she dialed the number, her phone unexpectedly showed a low battery warning. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, Ellie quickly took action. She immediately got into the elevator and ran toward the president's suite. At the same time, out on the sea near the hotel, a fishing boat pulled up. A strange box inside was a grenade launcher, but Ellie was still busy clearing people from the area, completely unaware that the killer had already taken aim at their building. The next second, the killer pulled the trigger, and a shell fired straight toward the president's hotel. Fortunately, everyone had been warned in advance, and the president narrowly escaped death. At that moment, Annie was still on her way home. Her father was already being watched by the killer, but just as Annie was about to call home, her phone battery died completely. She quickly drove home, only to find a suspicious vehicle parked outside her house. However, the killer was not inside the car. Annie instantly realized something was wrong. At the same time, the killer hiding nearby also spotted her.